By the way, you can hit it here.
Good morning, Mr. Shivang Rastogi. Dear YouTube family, we have today with us Mr. Shivang Rastogi, who had rank 07 in 2022 UPSC CSE exam. Welcome to Aptly Plus Academy for Civil Services, Mr. Shivang. We are privileged and enlightened to have you with us. So today's session will be completely dedicated to our students, and we will be liking you to share your journey and your ups and downs with our students so that they get motivation from you, and kindly take care of our students question and answer session. So I'm handing over the session to you, Mr. Shivang. Thank you for being a part of Apple Plus.
Thank you, ma'am, for this good introduction, and thank you for having me here. It will be my privilege to interact with the students. So, firstly, I will start with my brief background. I belong to a place called Sambhal in Uttar Pradesh. It's a very newly formed district. Thereafter, I have done my graduation in Bachelor's in Commerce from University of Delhi, particularly from Sri Venkateswar College. And after my graduation, I started preparing for UPSC. And this year in 2022, this was my fourth attempt, and I finally I'm in the list, and I got 307 rank this year. And this is my fourth attempt. In the first attempt, in the very first attempt, I am not able to clear the even the prelims part. In the second and third attempt, I have written mains, and in the third attempt, I'm finally in the fourth attempt, I finally in the list. So this is the brief journey about me. There are few initial ups and downs in the journey of UPSC. When you are not feeling well, when you are not in a perfect state to write the exam, you have to do it. So this is how the exam pattern is. So let's talk about the book list that I have pursued and my optional subject. So my optional is commerce and accountancy. Since I am a bachelor's in commerce and I've also done a master's from an open university, so I have pursued the same subject in my UPSC journey, and that is commerce and accountancy. I have followed the book list, which usually most of the selected people follows. I don't follow any different book list. However, I have done value addition from multiple sources. From multiple sources includes various test series, various institution notes in order to enhance my answer writing skills and in order to enhance the content in the prelims stage also. So my source for quality is basic Lakshmikant. Plus, I am supplemented it with 11th and 12th class NCITs. Uh, Apart from it, in order to ensure command over the areas of governance and other political related stuff, I used to follow newspaper as well as different institutions notes in the form. I used to just Google some word in the Google, and thereafter I read the different coaching institutions links which are being provided in the content which is there. So it helps to give me a better edge over the others. Uh, with regarding to economy, since my optional is commerce, so I don't face much difficulty in understanding economy. However, I have read Ramesh Singh of economy. I have supplemented with the content and information which is provided under the union budget and the economic survey. So it gives me overall understanding what is going on in the economy and what are the uh, challenges and prospects that our economy is facing. Apart from it, if we talk about history, I referred basic NCRTs. I have read both NCRTs, so old NCRTs as well as new NCRTs. So 11th and 12th class old NCRT and new NCRTs are good for history. For modern history, I have referred Spectrum book. Apart from it, I have also referred brief about Bipin Chandra for post-independence part. However, that is not very much recommended nowadays because the questions are not being asked to that extent. If we talk about the art and culture phase of history, I have referred Nitin Singhania book that is a comprehensive source, but however, I would suggest you people to read it very selectively. So not all chapters are important in that book, and there are some subjects where you have to do some additional research. So again, you can go to different websites. You can also watch some YouTube videos in order to enhance your uh, visualization aspect of culture or the performing arts. Like say, things are talking about dance or architecture, or it can be your music. So it will give you a very good pictorial memory for you to retain things better. Apart from it, let's talk about geography. So I think geography is something where understanding is more important than reading things. So I have gone through YouTube channels to understand different geographical phenomena, be it in the phase of climatology or oceanography. Apart from it, I just read the basic NCRT books. I have supplemented physical geography through the GC Leong book. So that is a good source to understand geography. Then, if we talk about the subjects like environment and science and tech, majorly both these subjects are important for prelims and mains. However, they are more current affairs oriented subjects, or I would say contemporary affairs are more important in these subjects rather than just reading about from the static portion. However, the static portion ensures the premise or the foundation to understand this subject. So, I have referred Shankar IAS book. Apart from it, I have referred to 12th class, a few selective chapters of biology book to understand economy. For science and tech, I have read basic NCRTs, but they don't have much utility because science and technology is more about applied science. So I think newspaper reading is important. Reading from contemporary issues, reading from contemporary technological perspective. So you can watch some YouTube videos to understand any technology better. You can just Google something, some technology where you find that it is important, and at the same time you lack the complete understanding of that technology. Like say, if we talk about biotechnology or nanotechnology, so if you don't have the comprehensive understanding of that, you can easily Google it out, or you can watch in YouTube a video with regarding to it. So conceptual understanding is more important, which is supplemented by current affairs happening. So this is how I have pursued science and technology. Now, a very burning question which comes to everyone's mind, and I think it's a very overhyped question with regarding to current affairs. So I followed a very simple yet effective strategy for current affairs. I used to pursue newspaper for a very consistent period of time. Like say, since I have started my preparation until the phase of interview, I pursued single newspaper. That is the Indian Express. I have not read the Hindu or some other newspaper. Having read the newspaper, you will have an overall understanding what is going on in the country, being in different spheres, like say polity, economy, or science and tech, or other issues. These understanding must be supplemented by any current affair magazine, any good current affair magazine. The reason being, current affair magazines play a very important role to understand and consolidate the concepts that you have read in the newspaper. Secondly, before the exams, they played a very important role in order to revise the entire year's current affairs. So you can either refer monthly current affair magazine, or you can refer to yearly current affair magazine, which comes before prelims, 4 5 months before prelims, or just 2 3 months before means. So it is up to you what things you want to pursue. But I have done both the things. In the initial attempt, I was reading monthly magazines. In the later attempts, I used to refer yearly magazines. And with regarding to what type of magazine you should follow, what type of coaching institution notes you should follow, I would say every coaching institution notes, or most of the coaching institution notes, or the magazines have the similar content. 80 to 90% content are similar. You must understand it from that perspective that current affairs are the same, whether you are reading one newspaper or another newspaper. That is not making the difference. What difference is make is the presentation and how well they have presented the stuff. Whether they are in the exam oriented form, whether they are in the prelims oriented form or mains oriented form. So you can refer to that also. I have also referred IAS Gyan's current affairs, which is the platform of Apti Plus in the phase of interview. So that is very crisp current affairs. You will have an overall understanding about different subjects, about different topics. So that you can also refer to that. So while choosing any material, you must you should not follow what others are saying. Rather, you should have a glimpse over the content and understand whether you are able to understand and grasp those content or not. Secondly, whether that content is exam specific or it is just an overload of information. You must be able to distinguish these two factors. So this is the primarily about book list. However, all these book lists, if I say I have done all these things, I have not done beyond it, that would be wrong. So apart from reading all these things, I have done value addition from different source at different point of time. Let's say in subject like in mains paper. So you have to refer the areas of society, security, international relations, ethics, essays from different sources. So there's not a one comprehensive source. I followed the approach to write answers, to understand from those answers, and to learn from the model answers that are being given by different test series solutions. So that would be very handy, and that would be very good to know the exam specific content, and even in the form of answer writing, in the form of question answer. So that would be good to understand a small portion of the subject. Let's say disaster management or your portion of security, international relations. So they are very good for that. Now let's talk about with regarding to prelims or mains portion. So this is my fourth attempt, and in the initial attempt, I could not clear prelims. The reason is not about the gap in information, which I have realized later on. The gap of information is not the major factor because I have just missed the cutoff by around 2 or 3 marks. So what I have analyzed is the mistake that I have committed is the strategic mistake. I'm not able to understand the nature of the paper, how much to attempt, how much to leave, what questions to focus on, and what questions to not focus on. So I've over attempted the questions and I have got more negative marks. So I missed the cutoff by 2 3 marks. So in the next attempts, I have cleared all the prelims and with a very good margin, around 10, 15, 20 marks margin in the upcoming attempts. So what difference I have made in my prelims strategy is I have read the basic static books very thoroughly again and again. I have revised them very well and I have made a short notes out of different books. Except the book of Lakshmikant, I have made the short note of all the books that I am referring to. Apart from it, I have supplemented all these information with the current affair. Current affairs, again, I just follow one magazine and I think that magazine will suffice things. Then I followed a very rigorous strategy of solving multiple tests and analyzing the tests and analyzing those tests and doing previous year questions simultaneously along with the research of PYQs. What a test will do, it will fill the gaps that you have in the reading of current affairs. Secondly, if you follow more number of tests, you will be in a habit or your knowledge is applied in the form of solving MCQs. So it will be very, your mind will be very trained to perform those MCQs in the real examination hall or the simulated environment. So that would be very good if you follow this sort of strategy. I followed around 60, 70 tests, even more than that sometimes. So your evaluation is done through test. How much you know about a particular thing, you will be able to know. Apart from it, how more information you need to know about a particular issue. You get to know all these things from the test. And some value added points you will be able to know or information. So you can either underline those things, highlight those things, or you can just put a short notes in your notes or in the A4 site sheet. I used to write the short notes which I have found the value-added material in the solution of tests. So that really is helpful for me. Fine. Then, with regarding to previous year questions, uh, I followed previous year question very sincerely. I won't say you should follow previous year questions of last 20 or 50 years. That would be an exaggeration. Rather, you just follow 10 years PYQs with a special emphasis on the last 5 years PYQs. That would be more important, but the initial 5 years you will be able to understand how UPSC's pattern evolved, what type of questions are being asked earlier, let's say in the 7 or 8 year ago, and what type of questions are being asked recently. So this prompts you to increase your level of understanding. It will prompt you to increase your strategy in the answer writing and even in the solving MCQ. And even when you're referring to current affairs, you will realize in the let's say in the 2016 or 17, questions are very straightforward from the basic current affairs. If you have read it, you will be able to solve it. But if you look at the recent year patterns, the type of questions have evolved, and the scope of elimination has been reduced drastically in the this attempt, 2023 wala attempt. So therefore, you cannot survive on the periphery knowledge of a current affairs system. What you need to do, you just have to be very very thorough with the current affair. So sometimes you might have to do additional research. Here comes the role of newspaper. If you're following newspaper, perhaps there are very good chances that something is there in your subconscious mind that will click in the examination hall or that will remain with you as a subconscious memory. So do follow newspaper. I strictly focus on following newspaper. Although there are a lot of alternatives towards newspaper, but I would say you should follow an authentic source, that is the newspaper itself, and rely on that. If you follow something else, then it will be secondary source of knowledge, and I won't suggest you to do that. However, if you are short of time, you can pursue different alternatives also. So this is one thing, and even if some article is coming regularly and some news is there in the development phase, you can follow different news articles on the Google also. So what will happen? You will have a multiple dimensions and multiple information about a particular issue. Let's say particular bill is there in the news, or some Supreme Court judgment is there. So perhaps the newspaper you are referring to might have included one angle, or it has covered that for 1 or 2 days. But some other newspaper have covered it from diverse angle or might have a good commentary about that. So you can refer to that strategy also. But you have to do it very selectively, knowing that the time is very precious and you are always short of time, whether in the phase of prelims, mains, or even the phase of interview. So this is the basics about my prelims strategy. Now let me switch to the focus over the mains phase. See, mains is not about just content. It's more about the game of confidence, and confidence can be gathered through rigorous answer writing practice, followed by brainstorming of answer. So, in the main phase, firstly, you should have very crisp notes with you, crisp notes with regarding to all the subjects and all the topics that are mentioned in the syllabus itself. So, you can take broad topics, like say modern history. You should have crisp notes about, let's say, 30-40 pages will suffice. Short notes of art and culture, short notes of post-independence history and world history. So world history and post-independence history should have very crisp note, or you should have a structure in your hand through which you can write an answer. Perhaps the gap in the knowledge would be there if you have not read it very wisely, but you will be able to plug those gaps via very good structure of your answer. Fine, and then comes to the subject like society, security, international relations, disaster management, environment. These questions are something which you have to do specifically for means or governance question. So means when you have to do it for means perspective, you must ensure that you will have a very good examples supplemented by case studies, supplemented by a good introduction or catchy phrase or quotation. So these information will give you some additional marks. Having said that, value addition can also be focused from the perspective of having good schematic diagrams. You can use here and there in different areas. Let's say I used to draw diagrams in most of the questions of geography, or I can sometimes draw diagram of in the questions of international relations and security. But never overdo diagrams, because diagrams are just the presentation enhancers. They cannot substitute your core content. So keep this caveat in your mind while making diagrams. In the question paper of ethics, I would say one thing: you should have the hold over the definitions of the ethics, which can only be handy once you have the good understanding of a particular topic. Secondly, if you know a particular topic, if you know a very good definition can be in your own words also, then it must be supplemented by a good example or a case study. Example could be driven from the public administrator's life, from some leaders' lives, from some historical figure, mythological books, or some day-to-day examples. Fine. So that must be supplemented via theory in order to give an examiner an impression that you don't just understand the concept. You also know how these concepts are applied at the grassroots level or on the ground. So that is very important for you to remember and pursue. Then, if we talk about the case study portion of ethics, so I would say case studies are very important, and you must practice different case studies from even the previous year questions or from some good text series. So that will give you a confidence, and you will be able to understand how to pursue case study and how much to write, and it is also with regarding to the speed at which you are writing the ethics paper, knowing the vastness and lengthiness of the paper in the recent years. Now, if we talk about the essay paper, I would say you must make sure that multiple dimensions are covered in your essay. Then your presentation must be like a bureaucrat. It cannot be like a English literature graduate, or it cannot be a layman like type of language. It must be a professional language which you have to follow. Thereafter, it must be supplemented by good quotes, by good anecdotes, and I would say an essay must reflect a holistic expression of your writing. So it must have a good continuity, good flow, good technical words, supplemented by good connecting words, then good conclusion, and then the overall 360-degree analysis of a particular topic. So while choosing an essay, I just want to say one thing: make sure you understand the topic 360 degree, or the holistic understanding of topic is very important. If you just go with the flow that I know this topic, and after a couple of minutes you realize that I don't know the topic in reality or in totality, you might step into that essay and you will be repeating the same points again and again, which will give a very false impression in the eyes of examiner, and you will be avoided negatively for that. Negatively in the sense you will be getting less marks. So therefore, I would suggest you to write as much essays as possible. And one thing I would like to focus upon here with regarding to answer writing and improving the quality of answers. So what I followed. Sometimes I used to write daily answers, but largely I followed a full length test, because I do prefer key if you're writing full length test, that would give a very good confidence to you, and you will be able to write under pressure situation also. So you will be having limited time for a particular question. So all the time management could have been learned better if you are following the 3 hours, the same time that will be given to you in the real exam. In the main space, I followed the simulated test of FT Plus, and I must say they are very good tests. I would tell you the reasons for it. The reason number one is the tests are made up of standard quality questions. They're not very difficult questions, or they are not very easy questions. The questions of UPSC are also of standard quality. So if you maintain standard quality questions, then you will be expecting a fair evaluation of that answers. So that is one thing which I liked about Apple Plus very much. And most few questions are also the questions of previous year. So which we will be able to understand if this question got repeated in the exam, how well we are able to write those answers. And evaluation is also on time, so that is very good with regarding to it. And the type of essay they are asked this year in the test series is very good, because one essay is of a static nature and another essay is of philosophical nature. And luckily, the same things got repeated in this UPSC pattern. So It is really helpful for me personally. So I would say you can also refer to that if you find it good. And with regarding to IS Gyan magazine, that is also good because the presentation is very really nice. Uh, so this is with regarding to practice. And I must say, I just one thing which I like would like to tell you people: you must practice answer writing, which must be followed by constructive feedback, and that feedback must have been implemented or inculcated in your next answer writing sessions. So it's not just about answer writing; it's about taking the constructive feedback so that your level of answers could have been improved, or you can rectify your mistakes, which must be supplemented which must be reflected in the next answer that you are writing. So it should not happen once you have written the answer, you forget everything. It should not be the case. So answer writing is a evolving process which passes through one, two, three phases. And I preferred one more approach, that is the approach of brainstorming answers. So rather than writing complete answer, let's say in 7 minutes or 11 minutes for 50 marker, I just made my mind how would I write the introduction of it? What could be the introduction of it? What should have written in the mains body? And would be my conclusion? So this brainstorming habits help me to do practice of multiple answers, multiple questions, and I have able to complete the previous year questions for this format only. So you might lack the number of questions or number of hours that we have in the preparation routine. We might not have the luxury of writing a lot of answers, so you can follow that approach if you are short of time. So this is the brief about my main phase. I won't discussing about the optional phase because commerce optional is a technical option. If you want me to make a commerce optional video, I will be happy to do that in some upcoming sessions. So that's a technical option. So I found it might not be very much relevant to you as of now. But I would like to say one thing very much, very clearly, that you must allocate a proportionate time to your GS subject and to the optional. Should not compromise one over the another. So there are people who just compromise optional over the GS. There are people who just focus on optional and ignore GS. This should not be the case. Every question, every paper has its own importance and own weightage. So you must be able to do justice with regarding to the all the papers and need of the paper. See, some papers might require less time, but that doesn't mean you just completely ignore them. You must give the less time which are being required for those subjects. So it should not be the case with me. Now let's talk about the interview phase. See, my interview was I have a couple of months in my hand, so I prepared for the interview very rigorously. I prepared the content and I prepared some questions from my DAF, and I took the help of FT Plus from in that case also. So the questionnaire made by FT Plus with which is based on my DAF is really helpful because I would be able to understand what sort of questions could perhaps been asked from my DAF. So I get a broad understanding about the questions. So I have able to prepare from those questions. So that is something uh, which I really admire and which really helped me in the phase of interview. And interview phase, you just have to practice your speaking skills, your how long answer you are giving, how short answer you are giving, whether you are giving precise answer, whether you are giving crisp answer or not, whether you are to the point, and whether you are addressing or understanding the questions that are being asked by the interviewer. So it should not be the case you're just throwing your knowledge. It must reflect that you understand the questions and you just addressing what is being asked by the interviewer. Apart from it, I would say in the phase of interview, you need to be very natural. You need to be honest. At the same time, you need to be practical while giving the answers. You cannot give theoretical and bookish answer in the interview because they are examining the personality of a bureaucrat, of a future bureaucrat. So, future bureaucrat cannot be idealistic. He cannot be bookish. He need to be practical. He need to be pragmatic. At the same time, he need to be honest. So they are also checking the traits of personality, which includes integrity of character, humbleness of personality, and so on and so forth. So I would say make sure you follow the you take interview very seriously. And I have given multiple marks in the phase of interview. So these marks played a very important role to the feedback that has been given to me ensures me to work upon those, and I'm able to improve in the upcoming marks and for the final interview. So these marks actually prepared me for the actual interview. So that is the utility. The question sometimes got repeated, sometimes they don't, but that is not the purpose of marks. The purpose of marks is just to evaluate yourself. So that is the brief about my interview journey and the overall journey of my UPSC. I have discussed introduction, book list, strategy for prelims, mains. So I hope the session is now open. And if you have any queries with regarding to any aspect of UPSC, I would be happy to answer those queries. So the session is open. You can pose your query in the comment section. So yes, good morning, people who are saying. So whenever you are feeling low, yes, it is very much acceptable that in the phase of UPSC, since it is a very long journey, so you might feel low also. But you must acknowledge this fact that the purpose of preparing for UPSC must always remain in your mind. So it is very natural you are feeling low, but whenever you are feeling low, you must remember your purpose. And sometimes you are feeling low because you are fatigued with the preparation. So it must be supplemented with your condition. So if you need a break, take a break. Pursue an hobby whenever you are feeling low. If you have a good support system, talk to those support system and seek help from them. What I used to do, I call my friends and discuss the emotions that I was feeling. So my friends used to give me some practical inputs. You can even talk to your family. You can talk to your friends, and sometimes it is okay to feel low. But if it is prolonged, then make sure you keep in the right spirit must be there in you, and you will be sealing through the process. And see, with regarding to motivation, I would say motivation must come from within. For within means the purpose of UPSC, purpose and why question of UPSC must remain in your head and heart. So if you are some sort of person who got demotivated, you must acknowledge what is the reason for it. And feeling low and low motivation is a normal process, but you must ensure you will work it over it. And one more thing I would like to say, if you're seeking external motivation in the journey of UPSC, I would say you can watch YouTube videos, you can watch some motivational speakers, but they won't have a long lasting effect. They just have a short term effects over your mind and heart. So it is not suggested to watch all those things for a long time. Just ensure what is the purpose. Keep your head and heart calm, and you will be having good in motivation. Okay. So please share your geography strategy for 3 years. See, geography may I would say firstly you should be able to understand what sort of questions are being asked in geography. So I would say there are two things in geography. Okay, Nisha, I will come to your point also. So I must say you must acknowledge what type of questions are being asked in geography. So there are two questions. Question number one would be the physical geography, and question number two would be the locations of geography, which includes the areas of mapping, and third would be the Indian geography. So prepare the different geophysical phenomena or the physical aspects of geography very thoroughly. It must be supplemented through diagrams. Let's say you are reading about plate tectonic theory. So you should have a diagram handy with you. Or you are reading about the formation of mountains, fold mountains, block mountains. So you must have, you can draw very good diagrams there. Then understanding of geography is important. Then it must be reflected in your words. Sometimes what happens if you're not from a technical background, so people face the difficulty of uh, writing things in words, especially in a technical subject like geography or science. So you must practice that. Then, if we talk about the areas of Indian geography, there are few areas which are coming regularly. Let's say the issue of mountains, Western Ghats, formation of desert, plateau regions. Fine, and it has overlap with the questions of environment also, or some uh, geography which is there. It's a contemporary geography. Let's say the issues of tourism in the northeast sector. So all these questions are coming here and there. So you must read all these questions first from the previous year question, analyze them, and make and ensure कि उसको how you can prepare well. You can prepare well through the notes which are given by different institutes, or you can just read the answer sheets of different tests which are being given. So more or less, I used to cover it from that source. I do not follow any means specific strategy for geography. So that is my broad understanding. And with regarding to prelims and mapping, I must say before 2 months prelims, you must have a hold over the atlas. So practice different locations and of mapping around the world in India, rivers, mountains, seas, canals. All these things must be there on your tips. If you have all these things handy with you, you will be able to solve two, three questions definitely in the prelims. And these things are also reflected when the questions come with regarding to placing different minerals, placing different resources in the mains paper. So you can draw a diagram. Just you can just place, you can just name them. With a very good presentation, it will look very fetchy for the examiner to award you good marks. So I will be coming to case studies a little while. Let me tell you how much time it will take to complete the whole GS portion. Uh, Priyanka, I will be coming to your questions. Just wait for a couple of minutes. So, see, GS portion requires time to complete. So, I would say around, let's say, 10 to 12 months are the minimum time you need to cover over the it takes to cover the GS portion. The reason is simple. You can cover the GS portion in the less time also, but provided you must understand those portions well, and you are having the hold over those subjects, it requires time because it requires multiple revision of a particular subject. So until unless you are doing that, you are just completing the subject. So I would say complete rather than completion. It must your focus should be on understanding a particular subject and hold command over a particular subject. It requires time, let's say from 10 months to 12 months, even more than that, if you are not able to understand or if you're not very much compatible with a particular subject. Okay, so with regarding Priyanka, I'm addressing your question. So with regarding to the case studies, what you have to follow, you must there's a very basic simple strategy of following a case study. Firstly, you must read the case study which is given very fast, so you will get an understanding over the what type of case. In the second reading, read the case very wisely in order to identify the stakeholders, identify the values which are there, and identify the actual problem or the concerns of the different stakeholders. So three things I have given to you: understanding the key stakeholder that are involved in the case. Secondly, you must understand the actual problem which is there. The problem with regarding to case study, let's say it might be a case study of corruption, it might be case study of pollution, or it might be case study of child labor. So you must be able to understand those points. Then you must identify the ethical value system or the issues which are involved in a particular case. So you must understand that also. Three things are there. Then approaching case study would be solvable through this example, through this way. So firstly, you just write an introduction with regarding to what type of case study has been asked. Thereafter, you must identify the key stakeholders, then write the values attached to those stakeholders or the key interest of those stakeholders. And with regarding to the third question, what are the issues which are being there in the case? Then talk about the type of questions that are being asked in the case. It there are case studies where general questions are being asked, like let's say option one, two, three. The case studies where reflective analysis of a particular case are being asked. So you must understand those and answer uh, with that perspective. You should not have a preconceived notion that I have to attempt case study from this structuring or format. So let's say it's about the option. So write the multiple option that could have been followed with regarding to a particular issue. One, two, three option you could have right. Then you just write the prospective solution of that case. You can also evaluate those options on the basis of particular merit and demerits. So options, then merits, then demerits. Then at last, after analysis two, three options, you must give a way ahead or solution that you would pursue for a particular case. Solution, what you have pursued? You can have pursued a very pragmatic solution. At the same time, it must be ethically correct. Similarly, it must reflect your own value system. 3 points need to be considered. It cannot be idealistic solution which could not have a utility at the actual ground level, or it cannot be that much pragmatic that you are compromising your ethical value system. So you must find a very thin balance. Let's say what Buddha says, the golden mean approach while pursuing the case study also. So it is basically the reflection how you think, how you perceive things, how you perceive the different issues prevailing in the society or in the bureaucracy. So that is my approach of reading case study. And you can prepare case studies by doing multiple practice, look at the previous year questions, and follow that approach. And even you can use good quote or catchy line in the case studies, in the either in the beginning, mid, or somewhere in the end. That is up to you. Okay. How should be my approach towards essay question? See, the type of questions that are being asked in the essays in the recent years have a quite starking difference from the type of questions that are being asked, let's say 4 5 years ago. 4 5 years ago, there was a set themes of UPSC. Let's say the questions every year come from the theme of education, issue of health, federalism, sports, women-related issues, environment, international issues. Fine. So these are the major issues that are being covered by UPSC. But since the pattern has evolved, nowadays you have to prepare those static questions. You cannot compromise those questions because these static questions enhance your understanding, and you can use the points that you have prepared from the static question in the in the preparation of GS or even in sometimes the essay also. But what you have to do additionally here nowadays, practice and understand philosophical essence. So my approach is I just made a good collection of different quotes which I could have used. So earlier what happens, you just collect notes quotes on various themes. You can have two quotes on education, health, women, and IR. But now you should have quotes on various themes or some ethical quotes or some quotes which are of philosophical nature. So you could have used them in day to day life, in day to day life, or even the essay paper. That must be your approach. So you cannot restrict the portion or the number of quotes that you are collecting for the essay. Secondly, you should always have the habit. What I used to pursue, I preferred starting an essay through a good anecdote or a storyline. So I make a brief background about that story. Then I make a punch statement. Then I start writing the essay with regard to that story. That story is connected to the main essence of the essay. So there is an essay topic. You must understand that topic holistically, and you must be able to understand the crux or the essence of that essay. If you are missing the essence or crux, you will definitely be awarded less marks. You can write a very good essay But if you are not addressing the demand or the topic of the essay, that would be a blunder to me. So what I used to do, I start with anecdote, then I open the essay from multiple dimensions. Multiple dimensions can be why this topic, how these things can be formed, why these things have not happened earlier, right? You can also follow the same pastel approach: political, economic, social, technical, legal, environmental. But these approaches are not rewarded well nowadays. So earlier that approach was fine, but nowadays you have to keep evolving yourself. Then you have to be critical of this essay, subtle criticism of the essay, which must be followed by constructive solutions, must be there. So your essay must reflect that you are an optimistic person, you are having positive energy, and you are having a hope that things can be improved for better. That must be your ideology and reflection over the essay. So, an examiner must have the feeling of good vibes when they are reading your essay. If you are giving them the pessimistic on critical tone, then you will be awarded less marks, because at the end of the day, you are going to join a system which have lot of challenges, but you are being selected so that you can confront over those challenges and ensure the system works properly. So that must be your thought process, and you must give a very good conclusion. And conclusion must be supplemented by a short poem or quote. I used to supplement conclusion by a very good quote in my mostly essays, but it is not a mandatory thing. If you are not remembering the quote, do not try to create quote on your by your own. That would be challenging. So I won't suggest you to do that. So that's a basic strategy I follow. So sometimes you feel that you don't know anything, and your blackout phase comes where you don't remember anything. How to overcome this? So that is a very good question, because even after preparing for so long in the phase of UPSC, you cannot say that you know all the things and you have the answer of all the questions that are being asked in UPSC. So that is the challenge which is faced by not just you, but I hope, I think most of the aspirants or most of the selected candidates even feel the same. So you must not think as an inferior or there's something wrong with you. It is equally applicable to all. Having said that, see, if blackout is coming to you while reading, so I would say take a break for a couple of days or a couple of hours. Then try to understand why you're not able to recall things. Sometimes happens our brain is very strong machine. It knows a lot of things, but at the same time, it is reluctant to accept that it knows a lot of things. So you should always have confidence that I am reading for a consistent period of time. I'm being very honest with my preparation. I'm reading for a long time. I have reading diligently. I have read the stuff from where question has been asked. I have done what all is required to prepare for this exam, or what all content is there to be prepared for. So if you have that sort of confidence, I hope this phase of blackout and the phase when you don't remember things will fade away very easily. So don't be in a mode of panic that you don't know. It happens with everyone. Just have faith in yourself. Just have faith in your preparation. Just have confidence over you. So you will be succeed. And I would like to tell you a very good anecdote. See what happens in the phase of especially means, you tend to forget lot of things because you have to write lot of answers at a very rapid speed, and you don't have time for preparation revision, and you have to write consistently for 2 3 days. But we think that we are forgetting a lot of stuff. But you must acknowledge this fact: you're not forgetting things. Just things are there in your back of your mind, and when the actual times come, they will automatically be on your hand and on your pen, and you will be able to write all these things. Sometimes happens you might forget a particular fact, you might not able to recall the exact things, but at the end of the day, you will be able to recall the things that are being required in a good amount of time. ठीक है हो जाता है वो. I will be coming to the CSET. Let me come to the yeah, CSET. Let me come to CSET first. See, CSET. The level of CSET has drastically increased, and you must accept that it is the new reality. So you should not shy that UPSC will realize that it has made this mistake, and in the upcoming attempt, it will reduce the difficulty level of the paper. This is not how you should pursue your strategy for CSET. I would say prepare CSET very diligently, even if you are from technical background or you're from humanities background. That is your duty to prepare for CSET. So you cannot take CSET for granted. You cannot take it very lightly. Now let's talk about the strategy for CSAT. See, no matter what your background for CSAT of education is, you have to prepare CSAT from the months of, let's say, November or December, or I would say 5 6 months prior to the prelims exam. And what you have to do, either you can prepare regularly, like you prepare for CS, or you can prepare for a one particular, let's say, number of days. But I would say you should prepare for CSAT daily around 1 to 1.5 to 2 hours, depending on your skills, depending on your aptitude for CSAT daily. So understand a particular topic, practice the previous year questions, practice the different tests of CSAT, and then repeat this exercise for the next 5 months, 1 2 hour daily, and I am damn sure you will be able to clear the marginal cutoff that is being required to clear the CSAT. Never have this attitude that you just have to clear the cutoff of CSAT, let's say 66, because there are a lot of variations in the answer keys of CSAT. So you should always have a target that I have to score around 90 to 100 marks in the CSAT. In the worst case scenario, you will be able to have around 70 to 80 marks in the CSAT. So that will be suffice for you to clear the cutoff. So you must have this attitude while preparing for CSAT. Okay. So Nurada is asking how to cover the current affair portion. Are there are a lot of things? How do we select the correct news? See, that is what I am saying. You must understand the syllabus of UPSC first. Thereafter, you must look at the previous year questions, knowing that what sort of questions are being asked from the current affairs. Fine. You just have to do these two background exercise before understanding what is the correct news or what is the I won't say correct or wrong news. It's a relevant news for UPSC and what is the irrelevant news for UPSC. Then what you have to do, read newspaper, understand the topics. Your syllabus is always there in your back of your mind. Whenever some case study is coming, whenever there is an article, let's say some district magistrate or some IAS officer has done a commendable work, or let's say some public official has done something which is for which he is awarded award, let's say public governance award or good governance award. So note the work of that person, which you can easily use in the ethics paper. This is the things that you have to do for mains. For prelims, read the newspaper very well so that you will be able to have a hold over the knowledge or the content that is going on in the news. Then supplement it with just one current affair magazine. You don't have the time to follow multiple magazines, because it will ensure that you will be able to repeat the stuff that you already know. So selective reading is not. I would say thorough reading of a particular current affair magazine. You can read it at the end of the month, let's say for one or in a span of 2 days or 3 days, or you can read current affair magazine on daily basis, let's say 1 hour or half an hour daily for the entire 30 days. So it is up to you, and underline the things that are there in the current affairs, but never have the fear of missing out factor in the current affairs. Because if any paper in the UPSC, like be it mains, prelims, or in the interview, the strategy of cracking all these stages to focus more on static question. If you have the command over the static question, you will be able to portions, sail through the stages of that exam. Current affairs just constitute 15 to 20% of the syllabus of the questions that are being asked. And that too, if you are average in the current affair, you will be able to solve 50 to 60%. If you are very decent in the current affair, perhaps you could solve 70 or 80%. But in any case, I would say you won't be able to solve more than 80% current affair question, because that is not the purpose of us. Our purpose is to perform relatively better than the other competitors who are writing the same exam on the same exam day. So that should be the holistic purpose to prepare current affairs. And if you have missed something, don't be in a mode I don't know something, or you should not be in a mode of panic or fear. What you can do, whenever you are writing test or a full length test, there will be certain questions of current affairs where you don't have much knowledge. So you can always supplement your information which is given in those tests in your current affairs material. So this way, your current affairs will improve your breadth and width of the understanding of contemporary issues will increase, and you will be able to read a particular topic in depth. So you don't have to be much worried about this. But sometimes you can also do some Google research over a particular theme where we are not able to form a complete understanding just by reading newspaper, or just by reading the current affair maximum. So you can YouTube also. You can use the platform of YouTube where a lot of educators are explaining the various events that are happening in day-to-day life. So this way you can develop an interest over the current affair. Meanwhile, during the phase of mains or interview, you can also follow the debates of Rajya Sabha TV, or nowadays it's been renamed as Sansad TV, or some good news channel. Let's say I followed Beyond or First Post. These are the good channel, English channel, from which you can increase your understanding over the contemporary issues, and you will be able to analyze a particular issue from different dimensions and aspects. So that thing are more relevant for mains and interview phase. So these are the basic strategies for current affairs. So बहुत ज़्यादा you don't have to be fearful about it. Just have a optimum and strategic approach to prepare for current affairs. So I hope I would be able. I will to answer most of your queries. So if you have,
Thank you so much, sir. This
thank
session
you.
was really helpful for all our students. Thank you for sharing your strategy and answering all the questions they have asked.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
That's a pleasure
then.
of mine to discuss the things with the students. I hope I would be able to contribute something in their preparation strategy. And I wish all of them a very good luck, all the best in their future endeavors and in the phase of UPSC.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. We are ending the session
Thank
now.
you. Thank you, ma'am.